Why it doesn't end well for the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So, it doesn't end well for the narcissist. It won't tonight, it won't tomorrow night, it won't next week, month, year, decade. The narcissist wants you thinking the exact opposite. They want you thinking that they're off gallivanting the globe, living their best life and living the dream, and they're on yachts and boats and ski trips and chalets, and they have the fanciest cars and everything's going swimmingly. Not so fast, narcissist. You see, what you don't realize is that you have to live in your own mind, narcissist. And every single day you're on the planet longer, it begins to consume you more and more and more. And that is something the narcissist never told you. They can't tell you, and they never will tell you. The narcissist is a shapeshifter, and they want to keep people placed and trapped in that narcissistic fog, the zombie-like, trance-like state. Now, I've used that term for almost 5 years because it is as if you are a zombie in a trance-like state. The narcissist casts a spell, if you will, a spell of charm, a spell of illusion, a spell of what will never be. And they want to keep people trapped under that spell so they can use, abuse, and manipulate those people for as long as they will stay tethered to the narcissist. But why it doesn't end well for the narcissist, it's because every single day that they are here on the planet, they are deteriorating. They're having to look for new places to top up with what is known as supply. I'll give you a really good example in a moment on how the narcissist has to do that. But think about something. What you need is you need air, water, shelter, internet, food, and you need peace and love and abundance and harmony and calmness and quiet and growth. The narcissist needs some of those things, but what they actually need are people to do things for them. People such as unpaid helpers, or walking apologies, or sounding boards, or people who regulate them, or people who do things for them. Indentured servants, if you will. Way back when, you weren't taught what narcissism was. You had no idea. You were an open book. You probably were a people pleaser. I can assure you, you didn't have boundaries. You were naive, and you were giving to a fault. Lo and behold, you meet the apex predator, yes, the narcissist. They rock your world, spin it upside down, chew you up, crumble you up like a sheet of paper, throw you away in the freeway, and here we are. Now, I can say those words because it happened to me, and the reason I'm saying those words is to pay it forward, to help you, even though you may not even know you need help. Maybe a friend is telling you to watch this video and you think that you're in a loving, stable, healthy two-way relationship, and now you're getting light bulb moments left, right, and center. Ding, ding, ding. This is good that you're becoming awakened and aware, educated and empowered, and you're beginning to understand that not everything is how it appears to be on this planet called Earth. At one end, we have the toxic person, the narcissist. At the other end, we have the empath. The narcissist is drawn to the empath like a moth to a flame. The narcissist is a moth, no disrespect to moths. We need moths, we love moths. But the dark energy we don't like. And the flame is you. You are what I call the beautiful, bright, shining light. The narcissist tried to capture you and extinguish you, if you will. Now, you didn't know any of these things back then. And when the relationship ended, you most likely were stuck. You were probably trying to figure out how or why you were feeling the way you were feeling. Most likely you were caught up in a trauma bond. Most likely you were still tethered to the narcissist one way or another, and you were still thinking about them, and you probably were holding on to a breadcrumb or a few, if not more, wondering when they will call, when they will text, when they're going to come back, when they're going to ask you how you're doing, etc. Well, the longer the time went on, the less you realize, or the more you realize that this person isn't going to reach out and call you or contact you. They're definitely not going to be love bombing you or be polite or civil to you. They don't care about you. They probably just want to take more, drain more of your money, or take things that you had purchased in the house, or have made sure that you were still paying bills for a period of time. You see, when the narcissist rips the mask off, ultimately, for the last time, that is a sight you do not want to see. But that is what is known as, in my terms, the ultimate discard. When the narcissist literally rips the mask off, and figuratively, and they show you by their actions or lack thereof, or their words, excuse me, or lack thereof, how much they actually didn't like you, how much disdain for you they had, how envious of you they were, and how jealous of you. The discard usually comes out of left field. It's usually a slow drip in the relationship with you doing all the work and the narcissist living and feeding off of you. Then eventually what happens? Well, it breaks because you can't be sustaining two people in one relationship when the other person's trying to destroy your life. But that's what the narcissist does. They burn people out. They break relationships. They break people. Eventually, when you were discarded, let's say, or however it ended, you were trying to still figure out what happened. Well, that's why this is the relationship you need to heal from. Again, you weren't taught this in school, so how could you know that you would have a journey in front of you? All the other relationships you had, whatever they were, whatever you're considering, you probably got over them in a couple of days, maybe a week, maybe a month, but then you don't even think about those people any longer. With the narcissist, it's quite different because you had different experiences with them, surreal, profound experiences, life-altering, life-changing experiences with them. Example, being screamed at in your right ear when you're driving on the freeway at 100 miles an hour on K-turns or S-turns or curves where you couldn't even really see the road, or having something thrown at you in your own house, or being walked 40 feet in front of when you're going to a wedding, or being walked 50 feet in front of when you're going up to the neighbor's house up the street, or being asked where you were, what you were doing, and are you cheating on me? And you haven't cheated in your entire life, but your partner, who turned out to be the narcissist, was cheating. So what were they doing? They were trying to make sure that you didn't catch a whiff of them cheating, so they blamed you. They flipped it around on you, and now you're playing defense, and they're sitting back there laughing, smirking, grimacing, and chuckling, saying, yep, did it again. This person doesn't even know I'm cheating on them because I'm blaming them and saying that they're cheating on me. Well, this is what the narcissist does. That's why it doesn't end well for the narcissist. You see, a person cannot go through life the way the narcissist goes through life, by taking and taking and taking without there being a big ultimate price to pay. Now, that price won't come at the hands of a human being. It certainly won't come at my hands. It never crossed my mind to do that. I don't wish ill will upon anybody, and I'm not going to start now. My hope is that's the trail that you follow, the path that you follow. You shouldn't expose the narcissist. You shouldn't call them out. You shouldn't shout from the rooftops, and you shouldn't get in the low weeds with them. You shouldn't do what they do, because that's where they thrive. What you should realize is that you are healing, and you're changing, you're evolving, you're growing, you're ascending, and you are moving further and further away from the narcissist, which is a good thing. The narcissist is still stuck in the low vibrational quagmire state. They know this. All they do is they search for other sources of supply. So as I shared with you earlier in the video, imagine you go to sleep every night. You need 3, 4, 5, 10 hours sleep, whatever you need, and that's what you do. Well, that's the same as me. The narcissist, they don't want to sleep because they're always thinking about how they're going to get their fuel tank topped up. This is why the narcissist has multiple smartphones. This is why they're crawling all over dating apps. This is why the narcissist is crawling all over social media. This is why they are loyal to nobody, yet they demand allegiance from everybody. This is why the narcissist burns people out. This is why the narcissist is always looking over their shoulder. This is why the narcissist always has to try to close the closet with all the skeletons and the demons that they're trying to keep trapped in the back of their tiny little brain, because they don't want those demons or ghosts to bubble up and a big dose of reality to punch them in the face, figuratively, not literally, because it would be too painful. Remember, the narcissist experience is something that you've never experienced, ever, and you won't, because you're not a narcissist. That is a narcissistic injury. You may say, what is that? Well, what it is, it's when the narcissist doesn't get their way, and no one is feeding them, no one is changing their diapers, no one is doing anything for them. This is when the narcissist has to look inward, even if it's for a split second, and say, wait, am I losing my touch? Am I not as handsome or beautiful as I used to be? Why is no one picking up the phone? Why is no one contacting me? Why is no one taking the bait? I don't get it. Well, what's happening, narcissists, plural, is that we, the collective, are getting stronger and you are getting weaker, and you know it. But on top of that, the narcissistic injury that I have never experienced because I'm not a narcissist, but the narcissists have for generations and hundreds of years, this will hurt them over and over and over again. And as they have to rebound from the zapping of the energy that they're not getting from other people, what will they do? Well, they're going to have to regroup and figure out a different way to attack fuel sources. So as I shared with you earlier, let's just use a car as an example. Let's say you top up your car with gas or electricity and say it can drive 500 miles. Okay, great. Well, when the gas or the electricity meter, whatever it's called, gets down to like 10%, let's say, you have to top up in fuel. Well, that probably happens with you, I don't know, once every 2 weeks, once a month. I don't know how much you drive. But with the narcissist, their fuel tank, it doesn't go from 0 to 500 miles capacity. It goes from 0 to 50. And they have to top that thing up dozens of times a day. See, this is why the narcissist needs supply. Without supply, the narcissist won't exist. They will flail, they will fumble, they will stumble, they will be directionless. The narcissist is like a ship in the middle of the ocean, an ocean of abuse, if you will, and they're looking for a rudder to steer them to the next port or the next island of desolation or isolation. You were the rudder for a period of time, so was I. You didn't even know you were in the rudder because you didn't even know you were in a narcissistic relationship. The narcissist did. They just used you up. They used your fuel for a period of time to get where they wanted to go. Man overboard, dumped you overboard with no life raft or life vest, and then they went off to the next source of supply. Now, I just gave you a bunch of different examples there. Most of these you should know about. If you don't, you really need to play the video and play it a few times, because the narcissist won't change. And why it always falls apart for the narcissist and why the narcissist will always get what's coming to them, it's because they continue to stay stuck in that loop, in that narcissistic abusive cycle, which just goes around and around and around. And they are looking for anybody to be one of the spokes in the wheel of abuse for any period of time. Anybody is interchangeable, everybody is expendable, and anybody is susceptible to falling into the jaws of the narcissist. That's why once you get the wisdom, you need to apply the tools. You need to go no contact, block that person, delete them, remove them and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If not now, when? Now, if you can't do it right now, I understand that. What you will need to do is you will need to create, develop, and get ready to execute your exit plan. The exit plan will take time. You'll have to be patient, you'll have to be stoic, methodical, and you'll have to realize that you will have to get away from that person eventually. Maybe that day is today, maybe that day is not for a couple of weeks, maybe it's not for a couple of months. Whenever it is, you will know. What I will share with you is this before I get ready to close the video, is the narcissist is not living a life of puppies and rainbows and unicorns and butterflies. Anything but. The narcissist is living in a dark, low vibrational state of lack. The narcissist has a bottomless pit within them that can never be filled for any one length of time. The narcissist always has to top themselves up with supply. Remember, I shared with you earlier using the car analogy. Let's say your car can drive 500 miles without topping it up. Okay, well, you know what's going on, and you have to top up by sleep, I'm talking about, every once in a while. Well, the narcissist doesn't go to 500 miles. They have a much smaller fuel tank that must be fed consistently and constantly, and they know this. That's why they burn people out. That's why they don't care about people, and that's why the narcissist can't change, and that's why it will always go sideways for the narcissist. The narcissist knows they are a ticking time bomb. They know that they lead people down paths of destruction. The narcissist knows that they're hollow, they're shallow, they're callous, they're envious, and the narcissist also knows they only care about one person. It is themselves. It is not anybody else. So tonight, when you go to bed, after you play this video, and you're probably playing it right now in the morning after I'm creating it, or the afternoon, or maybe it's the evening, when you put your head on the pillow and you say to yourself, wow, today I did a lot of good things. Did some more healing, meditated, journaled, exercised. I'm returning, my health is returning, my finances are returning, my clarity in my mind has returned. I'm rebuilding relationships that perhaps were fractured from the narcissist. I'm maintaining my boundaries, maintaining no contact. I have a small footprint. I'm developing or creating new relationships if I want to. I'm doing everything I need to do without the toxic narcissist in my life. When you do that and go to bed, you should be grateful, because you're out of the relationship, you're out of that hellhole, you're out of the toxic low vibrational state where you were trapped for such a long period of time. Now flip it. What's the narcissist going to do when they go to bed? They're not going to go to bed anywhere even near the way you go to bed. They'll be on one of their 3 smartphones. When the first one's battery goes to 0, they'll just pick up the next one. They'll look at the clock and they'll say, oh, it's 12:15. Okay, I only have 3 more hours. Then they'll burn out the second cell phone's battery. Then they'll say, what time is it? Oh, it's 2:21. All right, well, I've got one more phone, and I have to be at work tomorrow at 7 a.m., so I've got 3 hours to stay up and abuse people or trap them all over the globe on my dating apps or social media platforms. And then what do? They burn out the 3rd cell phone, and they forget to plug in the other 2 in the outlet. And then what do? They get a couple hours sleep, and the day begins new for the narcissist. They put on a new mask. They tell themselves they are loved, they're needed, they're so powerful, everybody wants to be around them. They send the good morning text to multiple people, which is what is known as I coined years ago, a template text, which is this. In the morning, they send multiple people texts like this. And this isn't every narcissist, but you should be familiar with this if you're in a relationship. Thinking of you, missing you. Good morning, sunshine. How are you? boring, random, mundane template texts that they didn't just send to you, but you thought it was just you. It was to multiple people, and they're trying to see which one's on the hook, which one responds quicker than the other ones, and that's the person they will feed that day. Doesn't work that simply, but you get my point. And then what do they do throughout the afternoon, the morning, the evening? They're acting like they're working, when maybe they are to a degree, but behind the scenes, they go to the bathroom with their smartphones and they're blowing up other people's relationships and stringing people along and making plans and breaking them. And then in the afternoon or the evening, they make plans that evening with 1 or 2 or 3 different people. And then they blow up 1 or 2 of those people by not attending or not responding, keeping that person stuck on the hook. So their weekend is blown up. The one person who is as unfortunate enough to spend time with a narcissist thinks they just won the lottery for the weekend, and that person would be paying literally and physically, emotionally and spiritually, and definitely financially to be with the narcissist. They will be on the hook longer. And then Monday morning comes around, wash, rinse, repeat. Here we go. This is the cycle. Once you were in it and you didn't know it, you needed to get out of it, but you didn't know it. Now that you're out, you need to stay out. And this is why the narcissists always get what's coming to them. This is why the narcissist does not live the dream. This is why the narcissist continues to stay trapped in the loop, and they want to trap other people with them. And this is why the narcissist can't change. And above all, this is why things do not go well for the narcissist, no matter what you think. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. I want to share a couple things. One, understand that this life, this journey is yours. You were used as a fuel source for a period of time at the hands of the narcissist. You didn't know what narcissism was. That's number one. Number two is when you're out, you need to stay out. Number three, you should not be looking at anyone's social media, peeking on the narcissist. You shouldn't know anything about them. And more importantly, or equally as important, they shouldn't know anything about you. The less you know about them, the better off you are. The less they know about you, the better off you are. And don't think for a minute that they have it better right now. They don't. All they're doing is trapping another person or being abused by another person. Any way you cut it, the narcissist is inauthentic, they're not genuine, and all they do is abuse and manipulate people. And that's what they're doing right now. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.